CM Punk and Dax Harwood respond to reports of possible backstage issues now that the former two-time AEW World Champion is back within the company. Speaking of these backstage issues, an update on possibly who actually knew about CM Punk's counterfeit Bucks line in his return promo last weekend during AEW Collision. There are reports suggesting that the line was cleared with AEW management, but other reports suggesting that might not be the case. CM Punk's return also reportedly overshadowed the success of Kenny Omega versus El Hijo del Vikingo's recent match on AEW Dynamite. Plus, Kazuchika Okada opens up about the possibility of facing CM Punk in AEW in the future. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of All Elite Wrestling. And as always at the moment, it centers around the backstage drama, divisiveness, reports, rumors of issues backstage in All Elite Wrestling regarding CM Punk, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Hangman Adam Page, the Elite versus Punk. The ramifications and the issues continue to reverberate around the halls of All Elite Wrestling, and reports have continued today about this backstage morale issue going on and backstage drama in All Elite Wrestling. Now, we spoke about this earlier on with Dave Meltzer saying that a top talent left Dynamite this week in a bad mood, and there was divisiveness, and it was getting bad again backstage in AEW now that CM Punk was back. Well, we've had, I guess, maybe Dave Meltzer's point of view on things, and some would argue that's the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega's perspective on things, Hangman Page's perspective on things, but now we have CM Punk and Dax Harwood's perspective on things as well. Now, as conflicting reports continue to make the rounds regarding morale in AEW's locker room, one top star has come forward to deny any divisiveness. On Friday, one half of the AEW World Tag Team Champions Dax Harwood took to Twitter to share photos and videos of his daughter Finley visiting this week's AEW Dynamite in Chicago. Finley was photographed arm wrestling Mark Henry and rolling around in the ring. To add to that, Harwood thanked AEW for their hospitality and noted that he hadn't seen any of the reported divisiveness in the locker room right now. We can actually get this up on the screen. You can see it right here when it comes to when it comes to this reported, again, divisiveness or anything like that. He tweeted, quote, "I can't thank everyone in AEW enough for how well they treated Finley this week at Dynamite. You all made her feel so special. If there's any divisiveness that a certain individual is reporting, I didn't see it at all. Check the Collision locker room too. This is a family." Now, Dave Meltzer's latest Wrestling Observer newsletter on Friday heavily focused on what he's heard from people in the locker room regarding CM Punk's recent return. Meltzer claimed that one top AEW star left Wednesday's Dynamite in a bad mood and felt that Punk being back involved is a ticking time bomb that won't end well. There's still also animosity over Colt Cabana's position in the company as it relates to the belief that Punk had him fired or demoted to working with Ring of Honor. When Collision was first revealed, there was plenty of talk about AEW implementing a brand split to keep stars with issues away from each other. As of now, there is still no concrete brand split as several top stars are already floating between shows. Sunday's Forbidden Door pay-per-view will mark the first time Punk and the Elite have been backstage together since September. Now, this has then led to even more response from the likes of Dax Harwood and also Dave Meltzer himself. You can see it right here on the screen. So Dax Harwood was getting very frustrated with the report, as I mentioned, that a top AEW star had left Dynamite this week in a bad mood because of the backstage divisiveness in All Elite Wrestling. He tweeted and subsequently deleted as well, quote, "This one will get me some heat, but F it. It needs to be said. Whatever, quote, top star left the show in a bad mood because a certain individual was there, instead of running to Dave, why not just tell the individual face to face? That's how we used to do things back in the day," end quote. Now, Dave Meltzer responded to this by quote tweeting a screen grab of Dax Harwood's tweet by saying, quote, "Remember the last time that happened?" referring to the backstage brawl that happened last year in Chicago after All Out, after CM Punk's now infamous tirade during the AEW All Out post-show media scrum led to the brawl and suspension of CM Punk, Ace Steel, who was later fired and now rehired, Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks as well. Dave Meltzer suggesting that if someone were to confront someone face to face, it would lead to what happened last year as well. So Dave Meltzer continuing to stir the pot, certainly, when it comes to everything that's going on right now in All Elite Wrestling. Now, going back to CM Punk, he's also reacted to a top name leaking that there have apparently been more issues backstage in AEW since his return to the company. Punk made his return to AEW on the June 17 debut episode of Collision. During this episode, Punk cut a promo in which he took a dig at the Young Bucks and other soft wrestlers before teaming with Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler to defeat Jay White, Juice Robinson, and Samoa Joe in trios action. Speaking with Post Wrestling ahead of Dynamite, Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter indicated there is a lot of divisiveness backstage after what Punk said in his return, as well as the ESPN interview that was released before Collision, and that the things are at a pretty bad point again. That's a quote, pretty bad point again. And then, in the Wrestling Observer newsletter today, Meltzer reported that a top name told him they were in a bad mood leaving Dynamite because of the whole situation. He wrote, quote, "But one top name noted to us that they went home after the show on Wednesday in a bad mood, and even with the key people kept apart and not on the same shows, described the fear of this being a ticking time bomb that will not have a happy ending." Well, CM Punk, he's also responded. And we can see right there was the Dave Meltzer response. But CM Punk, he's also responded to, as he does on his Instagram stories. He simply posted a photo of himself with Rancid's Time Bomb song playing, as you can see on the screen right now. As I mentioned, Punk isn't the only major AEW name to respond to this ticking time bomb story, with AEW World Tag Team Champion Dax Harwood also responding too. As previously noted, CM Punk was present at this past Wednesday's AEW Dynamite, while the Elite were not. But all parties will be in the building for this Sunday's AEW New Japan Forbidden Door event. This is expected to be a rare occurrence as they legally aren't allowed to interact with each other. Punk went on record in last week's interview with ESPN saying he had attempted to contact members of the Elite after All Out, but the response was letters from attorneys telling him not to. Since then, the two sides haven't had any kind of interaction whatsoever. So, what are your thoughts on Dax Harwood and CM Punk's response to this? Do you agree with Dax Harwood? Do you agree with CM Punk? Do you agree with the reporting that Dave Meltzer said? Is this a witch hunt from Dave Meltzer, siding with the Elite and getting his information from the likes of Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, Hangman Page, Chris Jericho, and others? Is he not being fair and down the middle? What are your thoughts on it? Let me know, as always, in the comment section below. Now, this is a strange story too when it comes to CM Punk. Everything's strange regarding his return at the moment. But obviously, he did his return promo last week on Collision. It got a lot of people talking. The line that got the people talking the most was the counterfeit Bucks line, right? And it had been previously reported that that was approved by AEW management, but now some people are saying no. It's been less than a week since CM Punk made his return with the debut of AEW Collision, and already the former world champion's presence is making an impact in a number of different ways. The latest Wrestling Observer newsletter features a report from journalist Dave Meltzer that states Punk's counterfeit Bucks line, clearly a reference to the Young Bucks, was not cleared by both sides, despite previous reports from him seeming to state the contrary. As I mentioned, earlier this week, Meltzer wrote a daily update claiming that the line in question was approved by management. It's unclear who in management Meltzer was referencing, but it's important to note that both Matt and Nick Jackson of the Young Bucks hold an executive vice president role in the company. According to today's Wrestling Observer update, however, Punk's promo, quote, led to a lot of frustration behind the scenes. Both Jacksons, as well as Kenny Omega, are seemingly unable to respond for legal reasons, which indicates that all sides signed a non-disclosure agreement regarding last year's backstage conflict. Last Saturday's Collision premiere and AEW Dynamite this past Wednesday both took place in Punk's hometown of Chicago. As expected, the former AEW World Champion received an outstanding reaction from the crowd on both nights, while Omega and the Young Bucks and Hangman Adam Page appeared in a pre-tape segment on Dynamite. No members of the Elite were in Chicago. The source of the internal conflict in AEW between Punk and members of the Elite reportedly stems from Punk's history with Colt Cabana. Punk and Cabana were longtime friends before the pair had a falling out over legal issues. Many in AEW were under the impression that Punk asked for Cabana to be removed from the AEW roster, something that both Punk and AEW President Tony Khan have denied several times. So it's really strange, this one, because you've got Meltzer at one point saying the line was approved, and now he's saying the line wasn't approved. The question is, what is the truth in the matter? What do you think? Continuing with Dave Meltzer talking about CM Punk today, he's also suggested that CM Punk overshadowed the success of Kenny Omega facing El Hijo del Vikingo in March on AEW Dynamite. Kenny Omega facing Vikingo in the main event of the March 22nd AEW Dynamite should have been a moment of celebration for the company. That particular night saw the show draw 954,000 viewers, which led to an increase in the 18 to 49 demographic rating too. But the latest, you guessed it, Wrestling Observer newsletter claims that people at top level of AEW and Warner Bros. Discovery weren't even talking or celebrating those numbers due to CM Punk. Around that time, Punk took to Instagram to knock both Chris Jericho and Dave Meltzer while claiming he would never put a company above his own health again. That led to fears regarding future plans, mainly concerning AEW Collision. The new Saturday show was already in the pipeline by that point and was geared to have CM Punk be as part of the show, or certainly be the CM Punk show. Things ultimately leveled out and Punk has since returned. However, there are some who believe Omega and Vikingo's efforts were overshadowed as a result of more backstage drama in AEW. What are your thoughts on that story from Dave Meltzer criticizing CM Punk for overshadowing Kenny Omega versus El Hijo del Vikingo? Now, keeping with this Punk theme of this video, and I guess just the news at AEW at the moment, Kazuchika Okada versus CM Punk was at one point kind of teased last year. If you recall, CM Punk tweeting coordinates to the United Center regarding Kazuchika Okada. Now, he's commented on the possibility of a match against CM Punk as a friend of the Young Bucks. This weekend, we'll see AEW and New Japan host their second ever Forbidden Door crossover event. Numerous top stars will be in action at the June 25th pay-per-view, with Kazuchika Okada set to face Bryan Danielson and CM Punk set to battle Satoshi Kojima in the first round of the Owen Hart Foundation tournament. In an interview with Sports Illustrated, Okada was asked about a potential dream match with CM Punk, referencing the backstage issues surrounding Punk in AEW. Okada said, quote, "I'm not sure. The Young Bucks are kind of friends of mine, but if fans want to see the match, I want to do it in Chicago." CM Punk made his AEW return on the June 17 debut of Collision. During the episode, as mentioned, he cut a promo that had the wrestling world talking before teaming with Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler to defeat Jay White, Juice Robinson, and Samoa Joe in trios action. This show marked Punk's first live televised appearance for AEW since All Out 2022, despite there still not being a resolution to the issues between himself and the Elite, including the Young Bucks. So, according to Okada, he's up for it, even though he is a friend of the Elite. But there you go, guys. It's the latest AEW news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak to you again very, very soon. Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.